So, hello and welcome everyone for joining us from around the world. Welcome to this session on lessons from the German Operators Neighbourhood System. Would it work for you? I am Franziska Volk, and on behalf of GWOPA, I would like to welcome you all to this very first operator stage session of the Congress. There are 6 more to come during this week, but we're really happy to have this first one kickstarting today. So, what is expecting us in this 1 hour training session? For more than 50 years, the German Association for Water, Wastewater and Waste, called DWA, has been doing training in so-called neighborhoods. Their training is conducted in peer groups that is local and is easy to follow and has produced excellent results and is motivating participants. So this operator stage event will allow you to learn why this initiative and how it has spread to Austria and neighboring countries. For your information to how you can engage as viewers, as the participants, there are 2 ways. First, on the right side, you will have the chat. You can access the chat through signing in via email or with your social media accounts. Second option, which is a more lively or interactive one, you can also join us here on stage. And you can simply do that by clicking on the so-called Wish to Speak button, which you will find just below the screen. And we will welcome you here in our room for your question or input. So now I'm handing over to the good colleagues from DWA for this training. Thanks and have a good session.
Hello all, my name is Hélène Opitz. I'm from the DWA, the German Water Association. I'm the deputy head of the Training and International Cooperation Department, and I enjoy you join us and my speakers. Both of them are working for DWA. Roland Knitschke is expert in international cooperation at DW. You can see Roland on the picture, yes. Hello, Roland. He's expert for international cooperation at DWA and will explain you how we did a transfer from our neighborhood system in different other countries. The second expert is Michael Dörr. Michael Dörr is working for DWA in different functions, but is also working at the city of Nuremberg. He's responsible for the training of the apprentices at Nuremberg, and he's also teacher in our neighborhood system. Roland, can you show the next picture, please? So DWA, what is our aim at DWA? We are, as we said, the German Association for Water, Wastewater, and are more than 70 years old, have lots of members, 13,000, and have one office, main office in Hennef near Bonn, and 7 regional groups. The next picture, please. Who are our 14,000 members? They are all the people of the profession, as well individual members, 8,500 as corporate members. Our corporate members are in the whole branch, engineering offices, but also public authorities, cities, municipalities, countries, local authorities, companies, associations, universities also. Our individual members, what is very important, are recruited in all the fields. Engineers and natural scientists, of course, executive of water and waste management boards, but also operational staffs and people from the students and apprentices till the retirees. The next picture, please. What are the tasks of DWA? We have lots of tasks. The development and updating of the set of rules is a very important task. The promotion of young talent and support of career. Some tasks with research. Also, the cooperation with thematically related institutions nationally and internationally, the representing of the interests of water management in politics. But the most important for this session are the planning and realization of educational activities and also bringing professionals together. And that's what we do in our neighborhood. The next picture, please. Because our plans are just as good as the people who drive them are good. So, the flow of knowledge, people are learning all their life, and they are also, but what they learn is different. And so it's very important that they learn all their life and that they learn that the content of what they know is actually. The next click, please. So, and what we do with our neighborhood is that we promote lifelong learning and work that everybody has always an actual contents. So the neighborhood concept in Germany is something for the staffs in the plants, and the aim of our neighborhood is that people coming from the next area are working together and have each year the opportunity to improve their knowledge and to learn from the others. So it's a picture of our we have to describe what we do, and Mr. Barjenbruch said that neighborhood is the best way and the more economic way to bring knowledge to people. Next picture, please, Roland. What is the training concept of our DWA neighborhood? The training concept is decentralized capacity developments with focus on the regional treatment neighborhood. For example, and it's a very good example of municipal cooperation. For example, when we take the field of the neighborhood of Wastewater Treatment Plant, we started in 1968, more than 50 years ago. The intention of our neighborhood work is to exchange experience between the different participants of our neighborhood and to solve on-site problems. That's a regular training for operational staff all the year and always. And one part of them is the information about the new regulation, and other is this on-site problem solving. And Michael Dörr will explain us later how one day is conceived. And it's what we have to see is it's a very motivating way for all the staffs. But Michael will explain us that later. Roland. Some facts and figures about our neighborhood. For 2 years, we had 723 neighborhoods with, for example, for the wastewater treatment plants, 5,500 treatment plants which were involved. It means we had 1,350 neighborhood days a year with more than 15,000 participants. To drive this neighborhood, we need teachers, and we had 225 neighborhood teachers. So you see, some teachers have more different neighborhoods. And the organization of this neighborhood is regional. So our 7 offices of DWA are driving this neighborhood. We not just have neighbors for wastewater treatment plants. We also have neighborhoods for sewers, for water bodies. We also have some for different subjects, and our neighborhood are in Germany, but we also have other neighborhood in abroad. For example, in the fields, we work with people from Switzerland and from Austria, and they are driving their neighborhoods in the same way as we. The next picture, Roland, please. How does it work? As I said, the organization of our neighborhood is something what happens in the 7 regional offices of DWA. Not just the organization of the days, but also the organization of the people working inside. So, as I said, more than 15,000 participants a year. So it means you have to actualize the contacts, and so we work. We have an internet platform for this, but we also have some booklets which are actualized each year, and those booklets give lots of information about that. In the website, the teachers and the participants can organize their sessions, and we also have some contracts for these teaching experts and excursions with the people. How do we finance? How is the financial part of the neighborhood? Our members pay between 100 and 1,000 euro per year, and it's a full cost recovery system. Our teacher and experts, they don't get money for that, just for the travel when they have to go somewhere. But it's very important for them because it's a reputation. To be a teacher in a neighborhood is something very important for everybody in Germany. And it's a voluntary job, but it's more and more difficult to find people who have the time and who can be teacher. Other contributions of DWA is that we write for journals, Betriebsinfo a year for the operational staff, and we also make a comparison of the results of the wastewater treatment plant. So I think now, Roland, the next picture, please. So, but you can ask, how is it possible for municipalities to send their participants to our neighborhood? This concept is accepted by the Cities Council in Germany and by the ministry. It's an organization. We have a contract with the ministry and the regions to organize this. So For people working on a wastewater treatment plant or in a sewer or for river, they are allowed to go to those meetings, and it's recognized as training for them. And quality assurance by DWA is in a technical committee, and this technical committee meets once or twice a year and decides about which teams, which facts will be improved in the neighborhood days, and which methods and which way we will organize our neighborhood. So next, please. Michael, you can explain your experience as a teacher in the neighborhood system, please.
Yes, thank you, Helen, and welcome to the participants from this session. Yeah, I will share my experience as a so-called teacher in the neighborhood system, but I don't like the word teacher because it's more like a moderator or, let's say, troubleshooter in the neighborhood. Yeah, first of all, I will take you to my neighborhood. Can you click, Roland? Yeah, so we see the map of Germany, and I will take you to the southern part of Germany with a red outline to Bavaria. Maybe you know Munich. And we are in the center of Bavaria, the second biggest city, it's Nuremberg. And we are located in the south of the city, so it's a bit of countryside. It's not the neighborhood, it's not directly in the city. Okay, next picture, please. The participants, mainly municipalities, but they are quite diverse. So I see yeah, now it's coming. So on the left side, you see the municipalities starting with Schwarzach, Grubbe, Röttenbach, and the diagram is showing the size of the wastewater treatment plant. So you see the biggest one, it's designed for nearly 33,000 people total, what is equal to round about 4,000 kilo of COD per day. And we have also very small ones, like here in the diagram, Offenhausen. So it's very, very tiny plant with only one staff. But we have also municipalities or member in the neighborhood, they don't have an own wastewater treatment plant. Let's say this municipality Schweig or the Berufsförderungswerk. They are also diverse in the length of the sewer system they are responsible for. So the longest is 150 kilometers, and the shortest is again 0, but the smallest is 12 kilometers. Also, the Berufsförderungswerk, maybe it jumped to your eye, both size 0. This is a training center or a rehabilitation center where people get trained to skilled workers, and they are asking to join the neighborhood to show their participants their real life on the plants. Yeah, of course, I think you know that also the used technology of the plants, it's quite different. So we have sorry. So we have very big plants with full nitrification and denitrification and digesters and solar sludge treatment. But we have also very small and tiny plants. They operating only non-aerated lagoons. Yeah, the same. It's on the participants itself. So the staff who is joining the neighborhood day, they are also quite diverse. It's one hand from the education level. So we have engineers down to skilled workers or short trained workers. Also, the experience is quite different. We have job beginners just after they entered the job, but we have also colleagues present on the neighborhood day. They have more than 40 years experience in operating a wastewater treatment plant or operating a sewer system. Also, the age, it's quite different. So in my neighborhood, our youngest participant, it's around about 19 years, and our oldest colleague just turned 65. So soon he will get retired. So I think we will have him round about 2 years. Yeah, a typical agenda of a neighborhood meeting. There is no typical agenda, but let's say there are some frame conditions. So the meeting starts always at 9 o'clock and at a hosting wastewater treatment plant. So people will meet directly on the wastewater treatment plant. And why we start at 9, it's so the staff can go to their own plants before the meeting and check everything is in proper condition, and then they will drive to our meeting. Then normally it's followed by a site visit. This is mandatory. So we are walking with the whole group over the wastewater treatment plant and visit all the facilities, discussing what is good, what is bad, what needs improvement. Some colleagues give some tips or say this is not okay. So the site visit is always happen. And then, yeah, me as a teacher, we're starting with our lessons. And the topics are based on the needs of the participants. So in particular, normally I ask them on the neighborhood day what we will discuss or what you want to hear about on the next day. And they come up with a lot of topics they are interested in. And of course, as Helen told you, there are 7 branches from DWA. They give us as a teacher trainings and also topics we have to discuss on our neighborhood day. And the meeting officially ends normally at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But from my experience, people are sitting and discussing and staying longer, making unpaid overtime because they are high motivated and meeting some friends they see only on the neighborhood day. So yeah, it's always nice. It's like a small family. As a summary, I would say every meeting is different. So if you join a neighborhood day in my neighborhood, it will be maybe totally different to another region. And also if you join 2, they will be also quite different from each other. Okay, Roland, next page, please. Yeah, here you have a selection of topics we covered during our neighborhood day. So one is organization of the plant. How you make sure that the plant is always or have enough staff there. Then another topic is maintenance issues, which type of oil you use, which tools you use, everything about maintenance. Then one big topic, it's the benchmarking. So the wastewater treatment plants compare their results. So, and these results will forward it to the regional group, and the regional group forward it to the national group, to the DWA, and they will publish an overview for the treatment results. You can find it, by the way, if you go to DWA website, clicking for English, and there is a link, so you can see the comparison of the wastewater treatment. Yeah, then what is always topic on a neighborhood day, it's mechanical, biological, and further wastewater treatment. Of course, all wastewater treatment plants have a problem with the sludge. So how we treat them, what is the best and most efficient way to treat the sludge or sludge disposal, also a very important topic. Of course, also, if there are changes in the regulations or the laws, the teachers will inform the members of the neighborhood day. Yeah, occupational health and safety, it's quite important, especially for the small and tiny plants. We do also practical exercises, as you can see in the pictures, enter a manhole in a proper way, how the measurements are done with a gas detector, and so on. And what we do also on the next, what we do on the neighborhood day is the quality control of the measurement devices. So all equipment we use in the laboratory, it's checked at least once a year. So we do in reference measurements, for example, or the teacher bring a standard to the neighborhood day. Every plant is bringing their devices. And so we can not only check them, we can also try to figure out why the result is not fitting in the level, and we can try to find some mistakes. And of course, something more. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, synergy effects. On the side of the neighborhood days, of course, if they are familiar and if they know each other, they starting to interact by themselves. And this you can observe by sharing of equipment or tools. So I know if I miss something and I need it urgently, I will call my neighbor and ask them. It's like in the private life. If you miss a cup of sugar, you will run to your neighbor, ring on the doorbell and ask them for a cup of sugar. I will do the same if I need a pump or some other tools. Yeah. Then what we can observe also is the formation of buyer groups. I think it's not secret, if you buy bigger quantities, normally the price drops down. So what the members do, they building so-called buyer groups and doing their purchases together. And so they will save costs, not only for the municipality, also for our customers. Yeah, then another point of synergy is cooperation in the analysis of wastewater and sludge. If you remember, I showed you the difference in the sizes. So I guess you can imagine also the plants are equipped quite differently. The bigger have normally a well-equipped laboratory, and yeah, the small ones are not so good equipped. So normally the bigger ones help the smaller ones in during measurement times, or yeah. Also, what we can observe is what I personally find very nice. It's the support in emergency situations. We had some floodings in Germany. And before the rescue committee was there, the neighborhood already was informed, and they helped each other. But also some members do or sticking together and organizing the training together, further training, for example, occupational health and safety. They bring their stuff together and organize additional training. Yeah, Roland, next page, please. Yeah, Helen told you the role of a teacher, it's unpaid. You only get your expenses reimbursed, and a lot of people asking why you do this in your free time, why you work volunteer as a teacher. You can benefit a lot. Of course, it's an honor to work as a neighborhood teacher, and you benefit on some other points. As I wrote, there is every year an annual meeting from all teachers, and you get provided with update information on, I would say, the whole package of wastewater treatment. So if there is something new in law or new technologies, as a neighborhood teacher, you always get the information firsthand. Then the DWA branches offer also free further training. So, for example, communication and presentation trainings. You have free access to all rules and regulations. If you start in your neighborhood teacher career, I would say, you get a lot of books. So it's also a free technical library. And what is the most important, on my opinion, it's you're creating an enlarged network of regional and national experts. So if I have a question, I take my neighborhood book, and I always find another expert who have the same technology. And normally they are always helpful and be proud to help each other. Okay, Roland? Yeah. So the core idea of the neighborhood, I think this you can describe it with 4 points. It's imparting know-how to the staff, especially to the small treatment plants. They are isolated, maybe alone on the plant, and for them it's very important to get some training. Then, of course, exchange of experience, learning from your neighbor, because your neighbor have also good ideas, and helping each other. Like in the private life, if you are good with your neighbor, you have a fine life. Thank you for your attention. If you have some question, please feel free to ask.
So I think, Michael, you explained us so interesting what you are doing that nobody has a question. As you say, it's a very emotional way to learn from each other, with each other, and I think it's that's what is very important for us. You told us teachers have a 2 days meeting once a year, organized by the regional offices from DWA. As you say, you become from them some contents and have some informations, laws and regulations you have to explain. But the more important is what people need and what they want to take. So you give that to the other people. And I think you said people from the big plants can help the people from the small plants, but I also think that the people from the small plants can give lots of different informations to the other one. So as you see, one teacher imparts his knowledge. The regional office of DWA, the big water association in Germany, gives information to the teachers. The teacher gives information to the participants, and the participants of the neighborhood give the information to the rest of the staff, to all the other people who were not coming. So as you see, one people is giving information to 125 other people. So I think it's a very interesting way and a very efficient way, what is not very expensive to give information. Okay, and we do that in Germany since 1968, and also in Switzerland and in Austria. But in the last years, we try to export this experience in other countries. And our colleague Roland Knitschke will explain you how it happens. Roland, the stage is yours.
Yeah, hello from my side too. And I have explained this concept a couple of times until now in my life. And I know there are questions, but I suppose this has to do with this closed shop we are living here, because we don't see your questions. I hadn't the opportunity to enter the chat. Maybe first question to Ms. Voll. Is there any question in the chat?
No, there is not yet a question in the chat. I was just posting again there, and I'm inviting also now verbally viewers, participants to click on the button, which is just below the screen. It says, wish to speak, join here. And please click that and join us here and let us know your question directly. And you're also invited to turn on the camera if you feel like it.
You are highly invited to do so. And because this makes life of a session. And I got to know Michael. Michael is a very profiled trainer, and I got to know him a couple of years ago. And that time he said, I will never use a PowerPoint presentation. And this is a good reason, because it fits very good to the concept of neighborhood. Now we are explaining here the concept of neighborhood based on PowerPoint presentation. Michael, this is not your strongest side. Your strongest side is telling what the real thing. And so before leaving a little bit more question for other people to ask, may I ask you a question in between? Because I will ask you, you are here as a trainer of a neighborhood, you are working on a wastewater treatment plant, a bigger one. You have a boss, you have colleagues. Your plant is involved in neighborhood meetings too. What is the opinion of your boss about these neighborhoods, and what do the colleagues say when they come back home from a neighborhood meeting in another plant? Can you give us some words about that?
Yeah, my boss, my boss support us because he say it's for the teachers. I'm not the only teacher here, so I have two colleagues. They young colleagues. I brought them into the system, and they work also as a neighborhood teacher, but of course in different regions. And my boss said, of course, we will miss them on the plant, but they gain so much knowledge. So he's quite happy and support this idea. And our engineers, they are going also to the neighborhood day as a participants. And they always catch up some news they never knew before. So in Nuremberg, on my treatment plant, it's well adapted, the whole concept.
Thank you very much. When I prepared, I'm from the, let's call academic point of view. I'm coming from the training sector. I'm not coming from the operators track. But before I started adding this topic or talking about this topic in other countries or for other countries, I asked some colleagues in DWA about their experience. There was one very clear voice which says, it's a cheapest way to get information, learning from a neighborhood. It's a fair way to steal with your eyes what you see in another plant. Yeah, it's people economic point of view.
I would not call stealing, Roland. This is
maybe not. But important, we are talking about a very practical approach. Yeah, there is no big theory behind, there is a mentality behind. And this mentality, here we see some experiences where this idea had been adapted about of Austria and Switzerland. In Poland, they got the idea 2006. They have a water association. I invited them for a statement here. They have just a new president in their association. So there is no message. But when you visit their website, you will see clearly the working concept of neighborhood is working over there. In Brazil, there was in 2010 some person catching the ideas with the help of a German consultant. The idea is completely out of our eyes, but it's existing, what we hear from time to time. And what I did in 2018 was an approach in Mexico with the help of the GIZ, installing there a network of wastewater treatment plants. And we looked for a partner, the Mexican Institute for Environment, and they helped us very much. I will explain a little bit about these experiences in Mexico because it shows very clear what are the limits, what are the benefits, and how simple is it at the end. No? Because me, as working in the just at this bridge from German to international, I see it's a concept which has a great capacity for international transfer. It requires institutional involvement, institutional willingness, but nothing much more. Yeah? It requires motivation from the operators, from the staff. But this will come because you give the operators, the staff, some empowerment, you make them empowering, you give them training. Persons who for part never got a real training. Now they get it. It's based on simple 10 rules, 10 aspects to be discussed. Yeah, and the question is just to start. As we did in Mexico in August 2018, we started with a demonstration in a wastewater treatment plant in San Martin, which has about 100,000 connected persons, and 2 different technologies, one trickling filter and one active sludge technology. And we worked exactly with the same logic Michael described before. Here you see it only in the Spanish language, no problem. We had one content point which was running around the plant, visiting every corner and discussing it. The second one was asking and discussing the technical aspects on this plant. And the third one was some energy efficiency question, which was an input from one of the professors from the IMTA. So this was the first, and a couple of teachers had been there, or assigned teachers, and so they got a first impression on what to do. This is how the Mexican describe the concept of neighborhood. They say, we have a couple of plants neighboring in a city. We bring them they are together. They elect one guide for this neighborhood, yeah, with a red hat, this person over here, who's organizing this group and organizing the neighborhood day together with the training institute. And then they coordinate with the training institute, which send a professor or a teacher. This comes with an additional message, but a big part of know-how is here inside the group. So a couple of days later, we first went to San Jeronimo, which is 300 kilometers up in the north. As you see, the plant is very modern. And people from the surrounding plants, obviously, as Michael said, different scale, different point of view. And the discussion was completely different. But there was a lot of sophisticated discussions about technology. You see here on the right hand in the picture that people are working with this didactical materials. They try to rebuild the plant. And when we make this a little bit bigger, we see this is a didactical material which helps visualizing and discussing what you have seen, because this is very important. We are not talking on theory, we are talking on practice, what is taking on and where is the problem. And so it's important that you can take the things in your hand. This is one of the materials DWA develops, and you find it on our website without a problem. This is our new international box with more than 60 kinds of different treatment steps. And the new idea is that you can write whatever language here on the card and work together in a group with this material. Another thing which we never tested on the neighborhood, but which would be an excellent tool, is the logic of QR codes, that you put material or put information on the plant where you can get the information directly with your smartphone. We have a concept for that, but there are other countries or plants doing it by themselves. This in between self-learning, sharing information, and using, as you see here in the picture in the middle, your smartphone as a learning device. So, but for this neighborhood logic implementation, I think we need only 3 key elements. One is that we have to focus in this concept on professionals, on technicians, from the practitioners level, and on topics they decide to define in. The second one is the trainers, neighborhood trainers and neighborhood guides will need some training of trainers to bring them into their role, but it's not very difficult. And the last one is what we decided over there in Mexico is we have to make sure that the workshop is not visited, or the neighborhood meeting is not visited by the bosses, but by the operators. And for that purpose, when we brought this first on the screen, we had to decide we make in parallel a meeting, a workshop for the engineers with international knowledge transfer, something like that, just to focus the bosses on another place of activities and let the neighborhood day run as it has been foreseen. So, next one, I've seen there is a question from someone. If this is clear, I would be open to interrupt, but unless that, Franziska, I will continue here. How to implement? These are 10 topics. For these 10 topics, the country has to find, or the system has to find, an individual countrywide answer. We have ideas for Germany, we have ideas for a couple of other countries, but all these aspects have to discuss in an implementation phase with some person or with the organization, institution, which will drive and coordinate this concept, this training concept. In Mexico, this is a 2-page paper, and this is open for all and helps as rules for neighborhoods. So, lessons learned from Mexico. Thanks to the GISAC project and thanks to Jürgen Baumann at that time, who helped us a lot in the implementation. First of all, it was not a question of time that these participants entered into a level of enthusiasm and motivation, especially when they're explaining their own plant. The second one is that the system is adaptable for all different levels of capacities and different levels of technology. And when you are talking to the bosses, you see there is the exchange of know-how brings improving in operation. And finally, there is a question that when you leave them only together by discussing experience exchange, the level is dropping a little bit. So you have to find the right balance, and for that, the role of the neighborhood teacher is important. It works to bring different treatment technologies, different sizes in one neighborhood, because there are a lot of things which are overlapping, like operational health and safety, like measurement devices, like whatever. And when you have this aspect of look for the same thing with from different views, it really helps to widen the scope and help to reflect. So I asked people in Mexico, what happens after the project stopped? They sent me this agenda. This was until the COVID started. They had a lot of neighborhood meetings scheduled and continued on that. No COVID stopped the process, but he sent me in parallel some materials from Mexico. Yeah, they have their own website, where you register as participants. They develop their own material, simple materials you can use without PowerPoint, posters, things like that. They have very good reaction on the press. And when you want to learn more, I had a 10 minutes interview. This is in Spanish, you find with this website over here. And the subtitles are not so perfect, so I will not share it directly with you here. But when you get in contact with us, international@dwa.de, I will share your mails with Elaine, I will share the mails with Michael, and I can send you even the link to this video. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Roland, for your explanation and the transfer from our neighborhood, from Germany to other countries, and especially to Mexico. I think it was a very interesting experiment to explain how we started 50 years ago in Germany, how it works now, and to share how it can work in other countries with other habits and other kind to discuss. So I think it was interesting. I hope you enjoyed our session. And if you have some question, ask your question, please. Yes.
Microphone.
We can't hear you, Franziska.
As if I'm using this for the first time. I would also have a question, and I'm super amazed and impressed by the neighborhood system. It sounds really great, and congratulations to all of you. And I hope I can one day join neighborhood meeting. I would be interested to hear about how you were coping, adapting during the COVID time, the lockdown, the online time, because especially you also show that the youngest participants are 19, and sometimes the younger generation brings in new tools and digital tools. So was there anything you've taken from this time? Because I think it has a great value to meet at the treatment site, but is there in addition any things that came up for digital neighborhood partnerships?
Michael, I think it's your part.
Okay, yeah, COVID hits us all, and please don't forget we are belonging to critical infrastructure. So there's a lot of danger if you're organizing a meeting and infecting the whole staff from all treatment plants in the region. So personal meeting on site we skipped during the COVID time. And as I said, neighborhood quite individual. So I did 2 digital neighborhood days. Yeah, and we discussed how to organize during this pandemic, how to doing the emergency plans, how to follow the hygiene protocols, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was quite challenging, and I will be happy if turns back to normal neighborhood days with a normal site visit and seeing people in real. Roland.
Yeah, I want to add one thing. When I heard Elaine talking about the finance, I think Ken left out a little bit clearer. You talked about the costs, Elaine. Yeah, the costs for this service of neighborhood in Germany are about 100 to 1,000 euro a year for an operator's company. So all the company with all their operators can join neighborhood days for such a price. To have it in relation, €100. This is the salary of someone of an engineer for 1 hour, something like that, as a relation. And when you have a big plant as the city of Cologne, something like that, they have the opportunity to send all their stuff or parts of their stuff to a neighborhood day, yeah, and pay for that only €1,000. It's nearly nothing. With this cost, you cover only this little organizational work which is heading in the headquarters of DWA. I think it's important to say it has to do a lot with Engage, and this is somehow a similar logic, not 100% in Mexico. So you need an institution which is really willing to contribute in that, and which feels a responsibility for these people who really make the wheel turning around.
Roland, I just want to add something about the financial part. This is what the members paying to the DWA for covering the expenses for the teachers, for example. But there are appearing also costs because the plants or the members hosting a neighborhood day, and they providing the lunch, for example, for the participants. So this is on the expenses on the host. But we are 10 members in the neighborhood. Normally we're doing 2 to 3 neighborhood days a year. So every 4 years, the neighborhood is coming to the wastewater treatment plant, and they have to spend a lunch. So, but it's additional costs.
Yes.
But this is quite nice. Some mayors from the municipality told me they are quite happy if the neighborhood is coming to the plant, because all people are cleaning the plant. So the plant is always in best condition short before a neighborhood day appears.
So I think I hope it was an interesting way to describe what we are doing. And if you want, I think it's a very easy way to contribute to the education of the staffs. And so if you have some questions, you can join us, you can speak with us, international@dwa.de, and we will answer your question and stay in contact with you. Lots of thanks to you, all of you participating with us. It was a pleasure for us to describe our system. Thank you very much.